Hi, friends. This is Gigi, the Smiling Yogini, coming to you from north central Wisconsin. And we're having a sunshiny day today. And the practice that I would like to share with you is going to combine some slow flow yoga with some restorative poses sprinkled in. So there'll be a little bit of time for restore and relax during our practice. So I am going to suggest that you have some blankets ready. If you have any yoga blocks, you could get those ready. If you have some wall space that we can do our legs up the wall, you might want to clear a little spot for that. If you don't have wall space, you can sub in a chair. So you might like to get a chair ready. See, I have one over in my area ready so that I can demo it to you both ways. So I guess from here, I'm going to head back to my mat and I'll let you kind of get settled and then we'll start our practice. So as you can see, I've got a couple of blocks over here. I've got a couple blankets. I've got either my wall space or my chair. My own little private studio is set up here. So we're going to start out with a warm-up. And then we'll go into our first restorative pose, which is going to be Matsyasana. That's a fun Sanskrit name to say. Try it. Matsyasana, which is actually just the restorative fish pose. Alrighty, so let's go ahead. We are going to start in seated pose. Now, I know that for some people, this pose, Sukhasana, seated pose, can be kind of a challenging pose. So if you have a blanket handy, and if you'd like to prop it up just underneath your sitting bones, it might be more comfortable for you and allow your hips to release and open just a little bit more. So let's go ahead and find whatever seated position is good for you. Even if it's sitting in a chair, that's fine too. And we'll all close our eyes. Feel your sitting bones rooting you down to the earth. And then notice your shoulders relaxing. The spine is long, but we're not rigid. The crown of our head is lifting toward the sky. So we're rooting to the earth below, but we're also lifting to the sky up above. You're silly. And if you come to your center, your stomach, your belly, your navel region, you'll start to notice your breath coming in and out. And go ahead and just kind of start to settle in with the breath. Feel the breath guiding you into your body. Let's start to open our eyes. And now you may have noticed that my sweet girl Bella has joined our video. I'm hoping she goes back up onto the couch in a few moments, but it looks like she's sort of settling in here, waiting for some love. So let's go ahead and bow our chins down toward the chest, noticing the weight of the head pulling the chin down further and further. On an in-breath, roll your head to the right so your ear is tipping toward the shoulder. And then on your exhale, roll back down to the middle. On your inhale, let's roll left. And on your exhale, back down to the center. Inhale, rolling right, keeping our shoulders relaxed. And exhale, back down to center. Inhale to the left and exhale. One more to each side, breathing in, breathing out. Taking it left, inhale. And exhale, chin stays down. And then with an in-breath, we'll bring our head to neutral. And if your legs are feeling uncomfortable and you want to maybe switch, bringing a different one on the inside and outside, sometimes it's good to just switch that up too, because we get used to sitting in Sukhasana in one way. So let's just let our arms relax out to the sides. And on an in-breath, we're going to angel our arms up to the sky. On the out breath, we're angeling them down, but then we're going to reach behind. Maybe join hands or fingers. On your inhale, open your heart, roll your shoulders back, feel that back bend. And then as you breathe out, let's land in Namaste. Here we go again. Inhale, up on the couch, upward arms. Exhale, down the sides and reach behind. Inhale again, opening things up. Exhale, coming to your heart. Let's do one more. Inhale, angel up. Exhale, release and reach behind. Inhale, open your hearts. And exhale, landing back in Namaste. And release. Let's bring our hands to our knees now, and we're going to draw some torso circles. So just begin coming around through the front and center, and then holding onto your knees as you kind of tip back through that back half. Let your head and neck just be kind of loose and relaxed as you continue to circle things around. Have a nice grip on those knees to help you stay supported. And then let's go ahead and circle the other way. So we're kind of preparing our upper body, head, neck, shoulders, upper back for our fish pose. Let's go ahead and land back in neutral. We'll move into a lateral stretch with a rotation. So we're going to inhale our right arm up and slightly over. And then exhale, let that hand drop down to the left knee and look that way. Inhale, start to rotate back up to the front and top, and then exhale, release. Let's switch arms. Inhale, left arm rising up. Exhale, as it comes over, we rotate to the right. Inhale, rotating back to the front. And exhale, let it land. Right arm, inhale, rising. Exhale, rotating to your left. Inhale, rising. Exhale, release. Left arm, inhale, up. Exhale, across and down to that knee. Inhale, all the way up and over. All right, you might want to switch those legs one more time. We have just one more practice here. I'm going to move my blanket out. We're going to do a little cow-cat. So if you've never done it from here, it's kind of interesting. So on our inhale, we're going to open our hearts and draw our shoulders back. Kind of pick your tailbone up off the floor. And then on your exhale, you're going to rock back, hold on to your knees, tuck your belly in, tuck your chin in. Inhale, we'll come forward, opening the heart. Again, this is the cow. And then exhale, round and tuck back for your cat. Inhale again, bring it front. And exhale, round. One more to each, breathing in and breathing out. Awesome. Let's go ahead and just take our legs out and maybe shake them a bit. We were sitting in that Sukhasana for a little bit. And we are going to set up for our first restorative pose. As I mentioned, that's going to be Matsyasana. And I'm just going to do a quick little adjustment of my laptop to make sure that you can see the floor, because that's where we're going to be. All right, so you're going to want to grab a blanket for this fish pose, or a towel, a bathroom towel or beach towel would work too. And everybody's probably going to be a little bit different with how they decide to set their blanket up for this. So I like to have kind of a medium height roll when I do my fish. So I've got kind of just a rectangle here. And then I'm going to take mine the long way and I'm going to roll it up. And then I'm going to set it down on my mat. Now, for some people, this might be too thick or too high. And if it is, all you need to do is unroll it a little bit and maybe keep this part kind of flat, or if you want it the opposite way, so you have a little cushion for your head. So you've got somewhat of a roll, but not too high. So you're going to have to explore this on your own. So to come into the fish, you're going to come down gently onto the blanket. And if you're a female, the blanket's kind of right where your bra strap goes. Try and release your head and neck to the floor gently. And then your arms are above the blanket. So you can even take your arms and push the blanket a little bit away if it's bothering you. So you want to think of your blanket being directly below your heart, the center. So I would like you to kind of play with this until you find a position that serves you. You're going to want to think about your head position so that your neck is comfortable. If you rolled your blanket or towel up too high, then your neck might not be comfortable. So let's make sure that we've got that first. Then when you're feeling okay with your upper body, then you can start to think about the lower body. I like to keep my knees bent and my feet grounded, but some people enjoy taking the legs all the way out long. And this is how they would be in a traditional fish pose. So you can play with that. Another way that I've seen students do the lower half is kind of coming into their butterfly or their cobbler on the lower half. So again, first and foremost, make sure that your blanket is at a good height, giving you an upper back bend. Make sure your head and neck are comfortable. Then go ahead and choose with the lower half. I do have some students who don't like much of a roll under their heart, and they might make theirs rather small. So you can play with that as you continue to rest here in this upper back bend called Matsyasana. Come into your breath. Feel the shoulders rolling down and back. So this posture can help to open the front body and help reverse that rounded shoulder syndrome that we sometimes get, where our shoulders come forward from perhaps being on a computer too much or driving too much, or maybe just habitually kind of slouching and letting your shoulders round in. So this pose kind of is a nice reminder of letting that front body really open. Check in and make sure that you're relaxing your jaw. Soften your face. Soften the third eye point right in between your eyebrows, your brow chakra. Another thing that I like about the fish pose is it really helps relieve any tightness you have in that mid and upper back, which is the thoracic part of your spine. Sometimes that's a tough area to stretch. So I especially like the fish pose for that reason. So when you're practicing a restorative pose, you can really stay in it however long you desire. Typically, when I'm doing these poses, I'll stay in them for anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. So I would like to guide you out of Matsyasana. So let's meet with our knees bent and feet grounded if you're not already there. Then you're going to take either your right or left arm and bring it over and across your body as you roll to your side. And you're going to start to prop yourself up on your hands. And we're going to go ahead and just take that blanket out and away. But then we're going to lay back down on our backs. Once you arrive, let's take just a few breaths, noticing how our head, neck, shoulders, and upper back are feeling after resting in that restorative fish pose. From here, we're going to bring both knees up and in toward our heart center, Apanasana. And on an inhale, we're going to start to extend our legs up. We didn't warm up our legs yet. Exhale, let's bend. Again, breathe in as you take those legs toward the sky. And exhale. Inhale, legs up. Exhale, bend. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Let's plant just the left foot, keeping the knee bent. You're holding on to your right knee. And we're going to just draw some nice circles to get into that hip joint, waking that up a bit. And then go the other way. Bring that knee into your chest for a hug. Hold it here and rotate your ankle around. And other direction. Let's go ahead, plant the right foot. Bring the left knee up toward you. And first we'll do our hip circles. Getting into that hip joint. Go ahead, go the other way. Bring that knee in for a hug, stay with it, and circle that ankle around. Switch the circles. Keep that leg there. Bring the right back up to join it. Do a little bit of rocking from side to side. And then eventually rolling to one side and mindfully bringing yourself up and into our table pose. So we'll be on our hands and our knees. And we're going to tuck our toes under and lift into a downward facing dog. Go ahead and alternate pressing one heel to the mat as the opposite heel rises. Notice your feet and your ankles. How about your calf muscles, hamstrings, glutes, spine, shoulders? And then let's take the feet and travel up to the hands, coming into Uttanasana, your forward fold. Bringing a little more movement into our practice now. On an inhale, rise up to your half forward bend. And on the exhale, back down. With the inhale this time, root through the feet, rise and reach all the way up. Let your hands unite. And exhale, let's land at our heart in mountain pose. We'll move through a couple of sun salutations. On an inhale, take it up. And on the exhale, hinge from the hips as you make your way back down into forward bend. With an in-breath, rise up to your half. And with the out-breath, back to the earth. We'll take a giant step back with our right foot and leg and come into lunge. Choose if you'd like your knee up or your knee down, wherever it's feeling comfortable for you, a nice long spine. From here, we'll step back to plank. Now you can choose to be in a traditional plank, or you can let the knees release to the mat. Yogi's choice. Let's exhale, taking it all the way to the earth. And with an in-breath, starting to rise for our first cobra. The elbows come in toward you like they're giving you a hug. On your out breath, we're going to come to down dog. Feel free to stop at table on the way. I'm still pedaling my feet out, kind of waking things up the back of my leg. Now, let's inhale and start to bring the right leg up. So we're moving into a split dog, and if this is too much, just stay in your down dog. That's fine. If you've joined me with split and you want to bend the knee and rotate the hip open to the right, and maybe even look to the right. Take the right leg back up into split dog. Slowly begin to lower. Now you could come to table and bring your right leg through, or you can just continue sweeping that leg back up and through. And you'll notice that we switched the side of the lunge that we were working on. Let's step the back foot up to the front, and here we are back in forward bend. Let's inhale and take it all the way to the sky again, and exhale, Tadasana. We'll do one more sun salutation. Inhale, taking it up, and exhale back down to the earth. Inhale up to a half fold, and exhale back down. This time the left leg takes that giant step back for lunge. So I did a low lunge on the first one with my knee down. This time I'm playing around with keeping the knee up. We'll move to plank, stepping the other leg back, choosing if we like our knees up or down, and we'll exhale, meet the mat. Inhale, here we go, rising and shining again, it's cobra. And exhale through, downward dog. So we need to pick up our split dog on the other side. So if you'd like to join me by bringing that left leg upward, go ahead. We'll bend the knee, rotate the left hip open, and look to the left. Taking that leg back up toward the sky. And then as you lower, you can either come to table and bring the left leg through, or you can continue sweeping it all the way through from that split dog. Let's step together, forward fold. And inhale all the way to the sky again. Exhale, landing in your mountain, shoulders relaxed. All right, we're going to move through a few standing poses now. So we're up at the top of our mat, and we're going to walk our left leg back, but we're going to keep our shoulders and hips squared to the front. So we're setting the foundation for our warrior one. Remember, you'd kind of like to be on cross-country ski tracks so that you've got some stability and balance. Let's inhale and make our way into this warrior one, centering your torso between the two legs. Front knee over the ankle. Shoulders settling down into the sockets. And then finding that smile. We're in our powerful warrior one pose. Hands relaxed, face relaxed. We're going to slowly ease out, straighten the front leg, release your arms. We're going to take that left hip and we're going to rotate the hip, leg, and foot open. Now, don't open the foot too wide because that would be uncomfortable for your hip. So as you're standing, shoulders over hips, think about them being open at a diagonal toward that long edge of your mat. We're going to come into the front knee again like we did in warrior one. And then we're going to double check, is our torso in the middle? Let's go ahead and find our warrior two arms, letting our shoulders soften. Rooting and grounding through the feet and legs, but then feeling a rising up from the torso out through the crown of your head. So a sense of both grounding and lifting. On an in-breath, we'll reverse it, the right arm up, the left back. Feel the back bend in this reverse warrior. And breathe. Let's return to our warrior two. And once you arrive, straighten the front leg. We'll tip right laterally into Trikonasana. We'll watch our front knee so it doesn't lock. And if you feel like you need a little bit of a bend in it, go ahead and take it. Try to open your body to the long edge of the mat. And if it's comfortable, you might turn your gaze upward. We're going to take this to reverse triangle. So engage your core as you inhale. And it's almost like a windmill with the arms. Until now, the right arm is up and the left is down. Let's slowly release out of that. We'll take the right leg and rotate it until we feel like we're rotated to facing the long edge of our mat and the hands are on our hips. We're going to do our wide-legged fold here. So as you find an exhalation, begin to hinge from that hip joint. Feel free to bend your knees. Take this wide-legged fold to any place that serves you. If you were having your blocks close by, you could even put a block down in front and use that. Or you could reach for the floor. Make sure you're in a place that serves your body. Oh, that's my Bella girl. Quiet. Shh. Shh. So that's why I sometimes don't let her be in the room with me. So I hope y'all don't mind. Now we're going to do those standing poses again, but this time we're going to do them from the other end of our mat. So I am going to be rotating. It would be rotating, I believe, to your right. So you're going to be facing the other end of the mat now in front-facing lunge. And then we'll step together, forward bend. With an inhale, let's come up to a half. And then exhale, taking yourself back down. Inhale, root and rise up. Exhale, let's land in our mountain. So we'll be picking up the standing poses on the opposite side now. So the right leg will be walking back. When we were on that end, we started with the left leg walking back. We're squaring our shoulders and hips to the front edge, or maybe it's the back edge now. And we'll make our way into the warrior one. So let's try to anchor down through that back heel, getting a nice stretch up the back of that leg. You might notice a back bend in the warrior one. So you can feel free to slightly tip forward here through the hips to help soften that back bend a bit. And what I mean by that is if you were leaning straight up, that would be kind of a harsh back bend. So maybe angling it just slightly forward. And then release. Moving to warrior two, we're going to rotate the right leg open. And again, remember you're not rotating so much that you're facing the long edge, but more that you're at a bit of a diagonal. It's just a safer place for your hip joint. As I come into warrior two and stack that front knee, again, I didn't take my whole upper body with me. I just kind of sunk down into it. Then we'll add our warrior two arms, keeping the shoulders down in the sockets. With an in-breath, we'll come into the reverse on this side, engaging your core to support that back bend. And then back to our warrior two. We'll transition to the triangle on our second side, straightening the front leg, tipping left laterally. And then inhale, windmilling all the way up into the reverse. Once again, I apologize. I think I may have to let her out. Exhale, release, and we'll rotate to face the long edge. I'm going to take you into another wide-legged fold right here. And as you're holding this pose, I'll take care of my dog. Out. Go ahead and rotate this wide-legged fold around into a front-facing lunge again. And then step together, forward fold. Inhale. Let's take it all the way back to upward arms and hands. And exhale, land in Tadasana. All right, I hope you're ready for our second restorative pose, and I'm going to show you two options that you can have for this pose. So Let me move a few of my blankets. Option 1, I'll show you with the chair just because it's already set up. So we're going to be doing legs up the wall. If you have wall space, I really like that a little bit better. But if you don't, you can use your chair. And I guess you can even add a blanket to your chair if you like. So for legs up the chair, you will come onto your back and bring your legs up onto the chair. So again, if you don't have wall space, you can be here. If you have wall space and would like to use your wall, I'm just going to put my blanket down so I don't have to move my mat. This one can be a little tricky to come into, but again, you'll be on your back and we're going to take our legs and let them climb up the wall. You'd like to bring your buttocks as close to the wall as you comfortably can. If it's too much of a stretch, you can scoot back a little ways from the wall. Once you find a comfortable position, whether your legs are up the chair or up the wall, you might want to roll your palms up, open your shoulders, let those shoulders roll down and back. Let's close our eyes, release your jaw, and soften your face. We'll be staying in this pose for a little bit. So unite with your breath. Become one with your breath. This restorative pose will help lengthen your hamstring muscles, those muscles up the back part of your thigh. It's also a nice release for your low back. If you're on your feet for long periods of time, it can help relieve tired leg muscles. It can also help with varicose veins. When we're holding restorative poses, little by little, we begin to create more space in those places where we might be holding tension. We're bringing awareness to those places so that they begin to open, lengthen, to loosen in ways that maybe they haven't in a long time. Restorative poses are supposed to be effortless, so there should be no muscular exertion on your part at all. So we're going to stay in this position with a variation of a reclined pigeon. So no matter if your legs are on the chair or up the wall, you're going to take the right foot and you're going to bring it toward your left knee. Now, you can choose where it feels best. Is that foot below the knee or above the knee? Probably not right on it, however. So if your legs are resting on the chair, all you're going to do is bring that foot up and place it either above or below the knee. And then you're going to notice how that right hip is feeling. Maybe you're feeling too close to the wall or the chair, so please adjust. Or maybe you'd like a little bit more stretch in the hip, and all you have to do is move that position closer to you by maybe bringing that left leg in closer. So you're in charge of what kind of a stretch you'd like in that right hip in this moment. Let's take some breaths here in this pigeon and just relax, let go. If it's feeling like too much of a stretch, take it away a little bit, soften it some more, move away from the wall a little bit. Relax your face and breathe. So I know this one can be uncomfortable for some folks, so we won't stay in it quite as long. Let's take it off and slowly bring it either back onto your chair or back up the wall. And just maybe notice how that hip feels compared to the left hip that we haven't done yet. And then let's even it out by bringing that left foot either above or below that right knee, finding the position that serves you. Start to let yourself relax. Adjust the pose if you're feeling like it's too much, or if you want more. Again, you're bringing that position in closer to you by adjusting that right leg. You never want to force into pain. Restorative means it's a stretch where you're finding ease and comfort with no effort on your part. I believe that pigeon legs up the wall is a great way for people to stretch tight hips, because you can be in it for quite a while and you're not exerting that effort, and you can really start to open things up, creating more space in those hips. So, again, I don't want to keep you here too long in case it's not a great pose for you. So, we'll slowly take that leg off, and now we've got them both back up the wall. And you can kind of shake them out a little bit or walk them up and down, whatever's feeling good. Maybe even like to kind of rotate the legs a little bit to release the hips. So some of you might be legs on the chair and some of you might be on the wall. From wherever you're at, start to bring the knees towards your heart. Some of you might need to either push your chair away from you or maybe scoot yourself a little further away from the wall by pushing your feet in. And then eventually, let's roll to one side and we're going to start to come up. If you are at a wall, we're going to return to our mat. If you were at a chair, you're going to return to your mat. I'm going to kind of move my blankets a little bit. All right. Let's have a seat on our seats. And what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be moving into a little bit of a strengthener, but it's also going to be a stretch. So it's a stretch strengthener. And what we're going to be doing is coming down onto our backs, but you might like to stay seated. And let me just show you this one first, and then we'll go ahead and move into it. So we're kind of going to be warming up our bridge because eventually that'll be our last restorative pose. But to prepare for that, what we're going to do is take our hands behind the head to support the head. The knees are bent and we're going to root through our feet. And we're going to inhale as we rise up into a bridge pose. And then as we exhale and bring our bridge down, we're going to lift our head, neck, and shoulders, keeping the elbows wide. As we find our in-breath, we're lowering the upper body and coming into our bridge. And as we find our out-breath, we're lowering the bridge and lifting the upper body. So go ahead and come onto your back. Knees are bent, feet are grounded. Hands behind the head to support the head. So we're not pulling on the head and we're keeping our elbows out to the sides like they are on the floor right now. On an in-breath, let's root through the feet and rise into the bridge. And on the exhale, lowering your bridge and head, neck, shoulders come up. And inhale as we lower and come into our bridge. And exhale, the bridge comes down and we lift the upper half. Inhale, coming into that nice stretch of the bridge. And exhale, bringing in a little abdominal crunch. Again, inhale, bridge. And exhale, crunch, looking up at the ceiling. Inhale, here comes bridge. And exhale, last crunch. Inhale, just lowering the head, neck, and let the arms release to your sides. So now that we did a few bridges, we've got that part of our spine warmed up a little more. We're going to set up for a restorative bridge. So I'm going to need you to kind of roll to your side and come back up so we can get our props ready. What I like to do when I do restorative bridge is I like to grab a block, and then I like to put a blanket on top of the block for two reasons. One, it gives me a little more height, and two, it gives me a little bit of cushioning. Now, again, it's your choice how much height you want. So I'm going to kind of double my blanket up so that I've got a little bit more height. Now, I'm going to sit very close to my props. And as I start to come down, I'm going to tuck my chin, lower down, and then I'm going to adjust my block blanket prop so that it's under my lumbar spine, my low back, and it's even coming about halfway into the glutes. So that's your buttocks. So make sure that you've got your support set low enough that we are restoring and stretching the low back. So you'll remember in fish, we had it under our hearts. That was the upper and thoracic spine. Now we're settling in to the low back and just slightly under the glutes. So again, this is something with restorative poses that you're going to have to play with. If you want more of a bridge, add another blanket. If you want less of a bridge, take the block out or just maybe use a blanket. So this is your time to get set up in your bridge pose. Once you feel like you've found a comfortable place to be, your next job is to really release and let go so that you're softening your body into that prop. So you're letting go of any effort. I know that some students like to let their knees kind of drop together so they don't feel like they have to hold their legs at all, while some like to keep the legs at about hip distance apart. Once again, our shoulders are rolling down and back. The palms of our hands are maybe open to the sky. We're releasing and relaxing our jaw and softening our face. So you'll notice that in all of the three restorative poses that we were in today, our hearts were just a little bit higher than our heads. And those types of poses are called inversions, where we're changing the flow of our blood. Continue to surrender into your prop. Feel yourself becoming one with your breath. The restorative poses that I chose for our practice today are three of my favorites. We got our Matsyasana, our fish pose, for our upper back bend, getting into that thoracic spine. We did our legs up the wall and included the pigeon up the wall. And then we're finally here in restorative bridge pose for that lower part of our spine. To guide you out of our bridge, I'll have you root your feet into the earth. Slowly move the prop out from beneath you and gently lower your spine. Excuse me. Noticing how your spine feels after being in that bridge back bend. And then we'll bring our knees to our chest to counter pose. And then we'll draw some circles up on the ceiling. Change the direction of your circles. Hug those knees in. Let's plant one foot at a time. Let the arms open up wide. Maybe walk your feet a little bit wider apart. And let's move into our windshield wiper release by letting the legs float over to the right and allowing your head to roll to the left. Surrender into the pose. Bring your head back to neutral first, and then let's bring the legs to center. Switching the side of our windshield wiper, we're letting the legs gently float down toward the earth on the left, and then perhaps rolling your head to the right. Adjust your feet and legs any way that feels right so that you can really let go and surrender into this release pose. Let's begin to bring the head back to neutral, and then slowly bringing those legs back to the center. Bringing the arms in, hugging those knees into the chest one more time. Maybe doing a little bit of rocking here. So we did quite a bit of relaxing in our restorative poses. So I am going to move on to closing our class. We're going to roll to our side, and you might choose to rest gently on your side for a little bit. From your side position, you'll eventually make your way up. And then let's come in to seated pose. And we'll close our practice with a little bit of loving kindness. So let's go ahead and bring our hands together. Maybe bow the head, let the shoulders relax. May you be in peace. May your heart be open. May you know the beauty of your own true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing for others. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me. Have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, whatever part of the day you're in, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.